What's up and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Shred Show Live. I am so excited to be hanging out with Bryan. He's one of those guys that not only do I have so much respect, admiration, and honor for this veteran himself, but he's doing so much for the VA community within the mortgage space, within lending. And that is what we're very excited to be talking about today. We're going to dive into some things, some facts, some myths, some discussions, and some regular episodes that we're really going to be helping out our veterans. Ladies and gentlemen, join us. It is time to shred. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I am so excited to have Bryan Bergjans join me. You've seen him on the show before, and if you don't know who he is, you need to follow him on all the different social channels. And I'm excited to have you on the show, Bryan. But like I said, it's truly an honor. It's truly humbling to have you on the show because you are a veteran. First and foremost, thank you so much for your service. You are absolutely brilliant. But you and I are excited because you are one of those leaders. You're continually giving back. You're serving our veterans. You're serving those heroes that have given so much for our country. And we're actually starting a regular show. And we have a big announcement that you guys are going to have to stay tuned for. But Bryan, thank you so much for all you do for the veteran community. You're absolutely an inspiration, my friend.
Well, I appreciate that. And, everybody, goes through life wondering what their purpose is. And I'll tell you, if you would talk to the 22-year-old Bryan, I would have never have guessed this. But as such things, as you progress your way through life, you find something you gravitate to. And, this is just one of those things where, I wouldn't think it would be a problem or an issue, but, military and veterans becoming homeowners tends to be kind of a struggle right now. And, we need all hands on deck and everybody working together, collaborating, sharing information in order for these folks to, have the opportunity to achieve the dream of home ownership.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why we're even doing this. And we can kind of get into this. I want to get in a little bit so people understand is recently we've been part of a lot of Clubhouse discussions. Everybody's heard us talk about Clubhouse. Well, we've been part of some discussions recently that have kind of even you and I, we've messaged each other back and forth like, dude, are you listening to what people are saying? Like there's a lot of myths. There's a lot of faulty information when it comes to the VA home loan, when it comes to serving our veterans. And again, you and I have talked about this on the show before. It's something that we need to be more educated on. We need to understand it so we can ultimately serve our veterans. It is such a cool program. Caliber in particular, we've talked about all the things that Caliber does for veterans. And again, I'm wearing the We Got Your Six shirt on today representing because Caliber really does have, the borrower's back. They've got their six when it goes into the home loan process. But there's a lot of misinformation that's being thrown around out there by especially that people who don't know what they're talking about. So what you and I have put together is not only are we going to be doing a monthly show just like today, we're going to be doing it on Wednesdays on a regular basis, but we're also going to be putting together a Clubhouse. And Bryan, let's kind of talk about what we really want to do is we want to educate people on this series.
Yeah, we want to have an open forum where people can have discussions and actually talk about what their challenges are, because we can't help fix any problems if we don't know what the actual problems are. Like when you go out in the Clubhouse, like you said, and you listen to people who are sincerely asking for information from folks, right? Sincerely putting themselves out there, because we all know that, salespeople, realtors, and mortgage professionals alike, they're salespeople, typically A-type personalities. No one wants to feel like they don't know something. So it's hard for them to put themselves out there in a group of peers and, to ask questions. But, you get out there, you listen to these questions, and unfortunately, brother, we got people giving information that's not even remotely close. And it just, now more than ever, I realize this problem's bigger than we even imagined.
Big time. And like, that's just it. There's a problem. And that's what you and I recognize, that there's an issue. And again, there's some other great people in our industry. We're not going to name names. We're not going to say anything. There's some other great people doing some great things for the veteran community. But at the same time, we have people who are, again, they're leaders on platforms that are having these discussions. And literally, you and I were part of a discussion the other day that you and I are like, we're like trying to bite our tongue. We're just like, what is going on here? This is not correct. This is faulty information. But Bryan, that's the problem, is we have people that are trying, whether they're trying to do it from a good place or not, they are not ultimately serving the VA community the best it should be served.
Well, I think what you also have too, though, is, you have people like when you're, a young kid and, someone tells you that you can't do something, you grow up thinking that you can't do something. Just like when someone tells you can do something, you grow up thinking that you can do something, right?
Yeah.
Just like when new people come into our industry, the old guard tells them about the ways of the roads and how do you navigate here and VA and navigating this and all that other stuff. They don't know any better. So you got folks out there who believe in the stuff that they've been taught. And unfortunately, like many practitioners out there who you see probably in social media platforms giving good information, this is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with people that have developed bad habits. And now, because of the market, the way it is, with it being very competitive on a seller side, now this is being exposed and creating massive issues, because you have military and veterans, trying to buy houses, and they can't, because you got sellers being advised not to take VA home loans because of a lot of unconscious bias. And that's a problem.
It's a huge problem.
A real problem.
Yeah, and it's sad. Honestly, Bryan, it just comes down to the fact being that people are just being uneducated. And again, we don't want to discourage anybody from doing VA loans. Again, you and I both, you just need to make sure that you have the correct information and that you're partnering with the right company. You're partnering with the right team. And you and I have talked about that. When we had Jeff on the show talking about having the right company, Caliber does a phenomenal job with it, but don't go out there and start spreading incorrect information, especially all you real estate professionals. Hey, realtors, we love you guys. But if you don't know, and if you don't have the facts, don't say something, because ultimately when you say something incorrect, you're hurting our veterans. You're hurting those people who have served our country so valiantly. So just become educated. And Bryan, you mentioned this earlier. We want to answer the questions. That's what this series is all about, is we want to make sure that you have the correct information. So ultimately we're serving the right people. Absolutely.
And the cool part about what we're going to do on Clubhouse is it's not just going to be you and me up there, sounding like a bunch of blowhards. We're going to invite other practitioners up there from other companies, because this is a collaborative effort. This has nothing to do with Caliber. This has nothing to do with Shred. We are just going to provide the vessel for folks to share great information to the people who are really trying to do the best that they can in these marketplaces. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's just how it has to go down. This is bigger than one company, bigger than one person. We can't, I can't do it all by myself. You can't do it all by yourself. We have to collaborate together. We have to work together. We have to provide good, sound information so people can make real informed decisions on what they want to do.
And dude, that's just it. It's helping educate people so they can make informed decisions. Ed Polanco brings up a great point. And Ed, I don't know if we'll be able to answer or talk more about this on the show, but we're definitely going to, because I've heard the same thing come up a couple times too, is I've spoken with many veterans and they say they're being priced out of their hometowns. Something, Bryan, that I think that's definitely a future topic for discussion, because we're seeing that. But again, knowing what options are available, knowing eligibility rights, knowing certain things. Again, we all know that the real estate market is a little bit crazy right now. There's a huge shortage on homes for sale. There's supply and demand, ladies and gentlemen. We talk about it all the time, but this is a good discussion for future, knowing what options are available, knowing programs, knowing different things that are out there. Because Bryan, there are other options and there are things out there that can actually help these veterans.
Well, to his point, because of the unconscious bias, and I'll keep always saying that because it's an accurate statement, and the not understanding what the actual VA customer looks like.
Bingo.
People don't understand that. First of all, the program itself is 100% financing, correct?
Right.
Correct me if I'm wrong, right?
Yep.
Okay. Well, the average amount of folks that go with 100% may be in the 60s or 70%. So
Sure.
there's a 30 to 35% of veterans who put a down payment down.
Right.
In the form of a down payment down, regardless of it being 100% financing or not. Okay.
Sure.
So now you have folks going into these highly competitive markets. They got 100% financing opportunity, right? So if my house costs me 700,000, but I'm in a competitive offer situation, I got to offer 50 grand over, right? I can do that as a vet. I can still put 50 grand out of my pocket and still get financing at 700,000.
Sure.
You take a conventional customer who already has to put 15% down on the transaction. Now you're asking them to come in with an extra 50. Is that possible? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. But the veteran's in a way better position to be able to make that happen because of the financing they're already bringing to the table. Just because it's 100% financing doesn't mean that the customer is not a prime customer.
Oh, see, and that's just a common misconception. I love that you keep referring to it in that way. It's just the information, it needs to be more discussed. We need to be having these conversations. And Ed, thank you for bringing it up. That's what we want. We want these questions. We want these things that are being discussed, and we want to ultimately spearhead them. So we can continue to help everybody. And not just, again, yes, we're serving our veteran community, but we're also serving all you originators, you mortgage, you real estate professionals. We want to help you overcome those questions, overcome those hurdles, so you can ultimately, we're all in the relationship business, ladies and gentlemen. We want to build that long-term trust, that respect, that those relationships are what key to all of us. Man, cannot speak this morning. But as we help those veterans, again, and Bryan, you know this better than most. Once you get in that community, once you prove that you're a trustworthy advocate for that community, you're going to continue to get business for time and time again. But you have to be educated, and that's what this is all about.
Yeah, I think I saw one time someone had a statistic that said, veterans and military community will refer you 10 times as much as a normal person once you're in. I mean? That's just how it works. They're not, military and veterans are not brand loyal per se, I would say, even though I think there's you got USAA and Navy Federal who might, persuade you to think otherwise, but for the most part, really not. And so if you do a great job for one, then you probably become that guy or that gal. So for any incoming ones or anytime they're referring out, you're always going to be top of mind. So
see, and that's just it. And coming from somebody who I work a lot with our veteran community here in Utah. I work with some other great members of our team who work very closely. Dave Kent, I'll tag Dave Kent in this. Dave Kent is one of those who has got so tied to the veteran community here in Utah. So, Bryan, you hit the nail on the head. When I was within that community, my referrals went through the roof. Once you become a trusted advocate for these veterans, that you actually know what the heck you're doing, they are going to continue to send you that business. They trust you. They respect you. And that's a big thing in the military. Trust and respect goes a long way with that veteran community. So guys, we're excited to be bringing you this new series. And like I said, every Wednesday, Bryan and I are going to be going on Clubhouse. So you can join us on Clubhouse, and it's going to be around that lunch hour, about 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, noon Central, 1 Eastern. You can jump on a Clubhouse, and we're going to shoot for around an hour. We're going to be answering your questions. Bryan and I are going to be talking about some of the really hot topics when it comes to the veteran. There's some programs that you should be aware of. There's some things that you should be aware of that are going on that can ultimately help our veterans. And Bryan, again, that's what this is all about, is really sharing some of those things that you may or may not be aware of when it comes to the VA home loan.
Yeah, and the great part is this too. Also, this is going to help our industry as a whole, because hopefully we spark up a lot of folks who can, carve out that hour, 30 minutes to an hour out of their lunch period or lunchtime to come and maybe even just raise their hand and talk about some of the challenges they've seen in their marketplace. And who knows, maybe somebody that we've talked to before might have had some way to overcome that. Yeah. And the collaboration piece of this whole thing, I think, is going to be just as important as the knowledge that we're going to be pushing down on the folks that decide to, join us.
Oh, 100%. And that's why we love having these. That's what Clubhouse is all about, is having those discussions, getting people part of the conversation. And guys, what better way to add value to your referral partners, even CPAs? What if you could actually help CPAs or financial planners or your realtor partners saying, hey, come jump on with Bryan and Josh. They're going to be having discussions about VA loans. Again, if you can help educate your referral partners, that's value, ladies and gentlemen. Sometimes we think about how we can add value, and it's not stopping by and dropping off donuts. It's educating them. It's informing them. So when they come across that veteran, when a veteran, they get a referral from one of their friends who's selling their home and they're a veteran, if they can be a little bit more knowledgeable themselves and help them refer to you, that is true value, ladies and gentlemen. And that's exactly what Bryan and I are going to continue to bring you on Wednesdays on Clubhouse. You're not going to want to miss these. So again, make sure you jump on Clubhouse. If you need an invitation, let myself know. And if you have questions, if you want to be part of that discussion, send Bryan or I a DM, send us a direct message. We'd love to answer those questions, or come live on here and ask those questions. And again, huge shout out. I know we have a couple of veterans who joined us. Jackson Ball, who's a veteran. Appreciate your service. Jackson, Ed, I know you joined us as well. Thank you for your service as well. This is all about you guys. It's all about giving back to our veteran community. And Bryan, I know you and I are both pumped about it.
Oh yeah, this is going to be awesome. This is long overdue. Like you said too, we've been kind of popping in and out of rooms for better than a month now, and it just you can't make this stuff up.
No, you can't.
So I'm really looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to some of the special guests that we're going to have sitting as moderators, because I'll tell you what, one thing I have taken pride in is never being the smartest guy in the room. And yes, I will continue to be that person, because I'm just very fortunate to know a lot of the smart people in the room, and we're going to be bringing them on.
Dude, that's exactly. I'm so glad you mentioned. That's what I was going to tease with. You're not going to want to miss some of the special guests that Bryan and I are lining up. Like I said, these people are by far, me and Bryan, we're just sitting back, and we're definitely not the smartest people in the room. If you're the smartest people in the room, ladies and gentlemen, you're in the wrong room. So with that being said, huge shout out to Bergjans and Caliber Home Loans for all that they do for our veteran community. We're looking forward to bringing this. And again, ladies and gentlemen, it's every Wednesday we'll be doing the Clubhouse. Bryan and I will be doing this show once a month, talking about the veterans, answering your questions and talking about some of the hottest topics. But every week on Wednesday, 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, noon Central, you can join us on Clubhouse for the veteran and the VA myths and facts discussion. So with that, Bryan, thank you so much for all that you do, and thank you so much for being the leader that you are.
All right. Thank you for having me. Looking forward to it.
I am too. It's going to be a great discussion, and looking forward to serving our veterans. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you. We love you. Now it's time for all of you to go shred, go show up, hustle, repeat every day. See you guys. Hey, what's up, everybody? Thank you again so much for joining us for today's show. If you like the content, make sure you hit that like button below. And if you already haven't subscribed to our channel, click right over here and you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you want to see our latest video, click over here. And again, if you want to see the best of daily content within the mortgage and real estate industries, you have to subscribe now. We look forward to having you shred with us every single day.